You had a lot What is this?
Over there to the right.
Okay.
Yes, it's not regular. Oh, yeah, I just got your
I don't know where Brandon Gillian is, but he sent me a Snapchat a while ago, and he's like, "Nope, don't think we're making it out of here today." And he shot down the road, and the wind pushed out, like the snow had drifted, and so it was against the wall, and you could see the road over on the edge, and it was like 3 feet of snow, and then a cliff that dropped down the side.
That's an old window. I knew it was going to be a little close to it. That might want to be one. I was going to be
Yeah.
I thought you told me. I thought you told me that was good. This last
With that, I'll call the meeting to order for the town of Taylorsville, and it is our custom to start with an invocation. So, Heavenly Father and merciful God, we pray that your grace may always go before and follow after us, that we may always be given to good works, and may we be presented to you with pure and clean hearts. Keep us faithful. Let us hear from the citizens of the town of Taylorsville and respond. And let us put away those things that would hurt our town crew and police department, our firefighters, our rescue, our first responders. Make Taylorsville profitable by planning economic development. Hear our prayer in these difficult times in our nation. Grant us peace to recognize your goodness. We give thanks for your compassion and praise your name through Jesus Christ, your Son and our Redeemer. Amen.
Amen.
Would you please rise, and Kim will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance to the American flag.
Attention, salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We thank all you for coming and welcome you to this meeting, and we'll just ask the town board if they will look at the agenda, and there's no changes to the agenda, and would you approve
Make a motion that we approve the agenda.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any more discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Any opposed, like sign. So our consent agenda, is before you. And that is the approval of the minutes for January the 6th and our work session on January the 20th.
Make a motion to accept the minutes.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any more discussion? Then all in favor say aye. Anyone opposed, like sign. This is an opportunity for members of the public to express their interest to the mayor and the city council. This is not a time to respond or act. Any necessary action will be taken under advisement. Speakers are asked to use proper decorum and to limit comments to no more than 3 minutes. Seeing no one who wants to do that, we will go on to item number 1, which is Nathan Hester. Do you want to introduce that?
Yeah, I'd like to introduce Mr. Phil Bogan from the North Carolina Department of Commerce Rural Planning Center. And he's going to present to you all the economic development strategic plan for the town of Taylor.
Thank you, Nathan. Mayor, good to see you. Councilman, Councilwoman, good to see you again. And it's great to be back in Taylorsville. I got here early, so I drove up and down a little bit, and I'm already seeing some progress in your community. So that is extremely exciting. So you have a draft, and we're calling it a draft until tonight, if you so choose to formally adopt it. And I'm not going to go through the entire draft, but what I would like to do is kind of go through the process that we went through. So over a year ago, I came here and talked about the services that we provide from the Department of Commerce, one being the 5-year Economic Development Strategic Plan. And we entered into an MOU with you, the Department of Commerce, and the town, for me to come in and work with you. And as a local government, you put together, I should know how to operate this after coming here. You put together a great work group for me to come in and work with. And so I was hoping to see some of them tonight, but I would like to call them out. But first of all, thank you for allowing us to come in and work with you. And I want to reiterate, if this gets adopted, this is not an opportunity for me to come in and say, here's your plan, and then leave and you never see me again. Because now the real work starts, is when we start doing the implementation, and I'll talk a little further about that. But the work group, or the steering committee, was headed up by Nathan Hester, your town manager, and then our council representative were Kimberly Brown and Tamara Odom. And then our other members that served on the work group were Connie Kincaid from the county, Dwayne Cooley, Ashley Lineberger, Micah Henry, Katie Dawn, Lynn Reese, Lisa McLean, and then Stacy Snipe. And so I just want to talk a little bit about the process. This is a process that basically gets followed through any strategic plan, regardless if it's us or a company that comes in or a firm. And usually start off identifying, looking and identifying your assets and your economic drivers. And then that really goes into a SWOT analysis. And we really study the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities is what we really want to focus on, those opportunities for the community, but then also the threats, those external factors that we want to try to overcome. And so through the process, I came in monthly. In those couple months, we had a few disasters. I had a personal death in my family. Then we had the hurricane hit, and of course that delayed us a little bit. But we picked back up and kept going through the process and creating a vision for the community, and then really working on some strategic goals or some strategies, goals, and then action items. And so I'd just like to dig a little deeper into that process so that you understand how this plan was developed. So this was our meeting schedule. It kind of outlines when I first came in, spoke with you about our services, and then I did a community tour with Nathan and Connie Kincaid from the county, which really dived in a little, learning more about the community and what you were faced with. And then that really kind of set up our work group meetings with the community. And like I said, going through the SWOT analysis, looking at those opportunities, and then diving into a vision for the community. And so within the plan, those are outlined in the plan as far as the things that we identified through that analysis, what the strengths and weaknesses, what the opportunities were, and then the threats to the community. By you studying all that, that really then helped us to start putting together a vision, okay? All communities, local governments, they have a mission and then they have a vision. So what's the difference? The mission is who you are currently. That describes who you are. But then having a vision is where you want your community to be over 5 years. And so it's good to have a vision statement, an economic positioning statement or a vision statement. So this is through that process with the work group meeting that we held, we also did a public survey so that anyone could provide some input. And I really want to give kudos to Nathan and the town and the county because usually when we work with communities, the response we get is really between 100 or 50 to 150 responses. And no joke, last week I was in Raleigh with my colleagues from Rama State, and we were working on our planning for the next couple of years because we're changing up some of our processes or trying to streamline some things. And we started talking about community outreach. And then one of the planners looked at me and said, well, I don't want to repeat exactly how they asked it, but they said, Phil, how in the heck did you get Taylorsville to get over 500 responses to their community survey? I was like, well, that wasn't me. That was the town and the work group really blasting out that survey. And that really showed how hungry they were to really provide input. Because again, most of our communities, they're happy to get 100 responses. And so those over 500 responses, and then we also had a public meeting where we invited the general public to come in to help develop the strategic economic business view statement for the community. So this, a lot of work went into this, and so I want to read it real quick. Nestled in the scenic foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains, historic Taylorsville is a destination where heritage meets opportunity. Our walkable, revitalized downtown invites our community and visitors to explore unique shops, authentic dining, and a vibrant cultural experiences. With multiple styles of housing availability, a dedicated workforce, and convenient highway access, Taylorsville is a smart choice for advanced manufacturing, small business development, and heritage agritourism. And again, this is where we want Taylorsville to be in 5 years. And so, through the vision statement, we started pulling out and identifying our strategies. And usually when we put together plans, we have 3 to 4 strategies, but knowing that we want to position ourselves to become a main street in the future, we threw that in as a 5th strategy. So if you think about that vision statement and start kind of reading it and kind of understanding what it's talking about, that's how we developed the pretty much the 4 strategies, which the strategy number 1 is to position Taylorsville as a premier place to live, work, and visit. And the 2nd strategy was to create a dynamic downtown. The 3rd strategy was to invest in recreation, wellness, and cultural tourism. And the 4th economic strategy that we pulled out from our vision statement was to strengthen the infrastructure to support long-term growth around the community. And again, the 5th strategy really wasn't identified in our vision statement, but knowing that we wanted to become a Main Street community, we threw that in there as another strategy that we could start working on. So now, once our work group developed the vision and mission, the vision statement, we identified those strategies, and then we broke it down a little further. So in your plan, you'll see that every strategy has 3 goals, okay? And then under each one of those goals, for example, I don't want to go through every one, but I just want to kind of just outline the process. So for every strategy, we develop 3 goals. So for example, the first economic strategy, number 1, to position Taylorsville as a premier place to live, work, and visit. The first goal was to enhance the downtown and neighborhood livability. And then under there, we have an objective, and then we identified some projects. And I want to call those recommended projects, okay, because those can change. Those are simply recommendations under that goal and objective. And then the second goal under that strategy was to promote Taylorsville as a remote work and entrepreneur hub. So under that goal, we actually have additional recommendations for the community to work on. And then the third goal under strategy 1 was to increase access to quality housing options. And again, we have an objective, and then we have some recommendations that the community can work on to try to identify quality housing. And so that's kind of the process that we outlined for each strategy. We developed 3 goals, and then we started developing recommended projects under each one. And so again, you see the strategy number 2, their goals, strategy number 3, and their goals, strategy number 4, their goals and recommended projects, and then economic strategy number 5, and again, 3 goals with recommended projects under each goal. Okay. Throughout the plan, you'll also see there are some pictures, and there are also some AI-generated pictures, and let me explain. Those are just to kind of help create a vision. That is not saying you have to do that. You know, I know when we did a mural on the newspaper wall. Again, we're not saying paint that mural on that wall. It's just a recommendation to say, to give you a vision of some things as far as the streetscape, the building renovations, and some public art. So those are just all ideas to help create a vision throughout the plan. And so let me back up real quick to show the process chart. So that really got us through creating the vision, the strategy, the goal, and those actions, those recommended projects. And that's what really we worked on for the last year, okay? And so if you have any questions about that, well, that's really the meat of the plan. Because then we get into the implementation. Again, that's where the rubber meets the road. That's where we got to roll up our sleeves and start trying to work, okay? Because Councilman Eric's already said he's already taken some of the information from the plan, some of the data, to help do some business recruitment, and that is great. And of course, I don't want to call you Kim, but I'll say Councilwoman, has already said she's going to keep the binder because this really should be a working document for the community. To really, not just you, but partners. Okay, when we start looking, that's where I can get into the implementation. This is a what we call the work plan, and so we have a chart, and this will be a separate document that we can actually work in. And this is where you want to identify who are those partners in the community. I know you have the Historic Preservation Commission. I know you'll have maybe a work group that's working on some downtown revitalization. What other organizations, nonprofit, or what other organizations that you'd like to meet with and say, look, is there, you don't have to take on a strategy, but is there a goal that you as an organization would like to take on? And so that's how we incrementally start achieving some of these small projects. And then before you know it, we start accomplishing a lot of the goals. And then in 5 years, we'll come back and update the plan because you're going to be doing some great things. But this work plan is it's developed to be a working document for us. And again, if you have some work groups start working, again, I'll be glad. That's where I will come back, do some trainings, whatever I can do to assist you or other organizations in your community that are helping to implement the plan. Okay? And as Councilman Eric, he utilized some of the data in the appendix. So in the appendix, we did a market analysis study, which really shows we did a 5 mile and a 20, or a 5 mile or 5 minute drive, and then a 20. That's some really good data that, as Councilman Eric's already found out, for you to use to really business recruitment, just a lot of good data that we can use for moving the plan forward. So, kind of in a nutshell, that's the process that we went through. And so I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have about the content. Of course, Councilman Kim and Tamara could also, help. They were part of the work group at each of our meetings, and were part of the process to develop the plan. So,
I would just like to say thank you that I enjoyed working with you, and I think we've had a really good group of individuals that come together to develop the plan. And I appreciate you pulling together all the additional information that's in the appendix, which we can use going forward.
and I do have all of the survey results. Sometimes we include those as an appendix as well. I will send that to Nathan as an extra, because it's interesting to see, a lot of the feedback. But that would have made the plan, a lot, especially if you had tried to print it out, it would have added a lot of paper and ink. But that's another attachment that I'll send Nathan so he can share that with you to see all of those 500 plus responses that you got from the community. Because that data was also used to help develop the plan. But, as you're moving forward, that may be some good things for you to look at.
When you used the ability to predict outcomes of people coming in, where they go when they leave Taylorsville, Western Piedmont Council of Governments has the same capability. And the criticism that we've had about that is, and that's based on pings on the cell phone.
Correct.
That's data. And it has a scientific way of putting the algorithm in there so that it is corrected. But the criticism that we've had is, everybody doesn't have a cell phone. So we're going to have to explain to those people, scientifically, the way the data is compiled.
And that takes somebody with a PhD to explain that, Mayor. But yes, they have algorithms, and we actually took a course on that. And they tried to explain, because if it's a car that's coming through and you got 5 people in that car, each one of them have a cell phone, or if it's a child. So the cell phone has to be within that boundary. It's 7 minutes before it really pings to collect the data. Mm-hmm. And so, there's so many algorithms as far as, collecting that data, but it's data to just really help, make some informed decisions on recruitment or so. But a lot of that data will be good to share with your local businesses because it shows the foot traffic, what times, what days the bulk of the people are in your community. And so if you share that data, because that could really help increase some sales by some of your businesses who may be closed during some of the peak time when you've got traffic in your downtown. So there's a lot of data that that you can see will be very useful. Share it and with your businesses and your other organizations and really get it out there.
But go ahead. Scientifically, though, the data is accurate, right?
Correct.
And we can say that with all certainty, when people have questions about how it was gathered. Go ahead.
Thank you for the information. I was actually shocked at how much money that the town is actually losing
On the
to
leakage.
surrounding communities. And I talked to a gentleman who moved his business to Taylorsville for that very reason, because he saw the opportunity to gather from Littleton, Hickory, Wilkesboro, and Statesville and be a center where we get more business from bigger communities. And I look at it that way as well. And to see the leakage going out, it's a tremendous eye-opening, really, to be honest with you. And to have that data is very, very helpful, so I do appreciate the extra effort there. I did get to sit in on a couple of meetings that they had, and it was very well put together, and I do appreciate all the hard work that these ladies have done and others, just to get started. I mean, just to start off the process, so thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
It also outlines our shortfalls, the things that we're missing and that we need, and the things that we should be looking to attract to our town and our county.
Exactly. Because that data, it really doesn't lie. But if you really, when I send Nathan the Survey Monkey responses, you see the responses from the community on the questions. A lot of that also it parallels with some of the data, so it reinforces the data. Any questions on the content or anything? Because, again, this needs to be a working, breathing document, and it's not something we just sign off on and put on the shelf. And so I'm excited about coming and working with Nathan and Connie, Connie Kincaid and you to help actually implementing some of these the projects that we outlined under some of the goals. So.
Okay, Phil, thank you so much. And we have the question before us that the council would consider adopting the Town of Taylorsville Economic Development Strategy Plan.
Make a motion, is that what it does?
Second.
Motion's been made and a second. Did you get that, Nicole? Motion's been made and a second. Any more discussion, questions, comments? If not, all in favor say aye. Any opposed? No one is opposed. So we go to, we're going to establish a public hearing, establishing, to adopt a new sign ordinance for the town of Taylorsville. And we went over that in our
We went over
workshop.
that in our work session, so I'm going to be meeting with the planning department and the county this week. The week before our meeting in March, so I'll be able to update that according to recommendations that are received from you all during our work session, and present you with the final proposed new sign ordinance to be adopted. And I'll be in March.
Motion to establish the public hearing.
Second.
And what date are we? Was that next meeting or?
March 3rd. Okay.
Motion's been made and a second. Is there any more discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. No one is opposed. And the next item, number 3, is to establish a hearing regarding, to apply for a CDBG grant.
Yes, we have to do 2 public hearings for CDBG. Have to do a first public hearing and adopt the resolution. It's more of a broad resolution that you intend to apply for CDBG funds in the future. And you have to have a second public hearing to apply for specific grant funding. So our goal is to apply for funds to demolish the hospital and in coordination with the property owner and our new economic development nonprofit, the Taylorsville Development Alliance, to begin transitioning that property into something that's beneficial to the community and be one of our first major economic development projects within the community.
I make a motion, we establish a public hearing.
Second.
Motion's been made and a second. Is there any more discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. That motion is so ordered. So we go to item number 4, which is the offer to purchase property in the town of Taylorsville. Nathan?
Yes, we've received an offer from John Rentals LLC to purchase the property that we own at 62nd Avenue Southwest, which is the former urgent care building. They intend to establish a medical office at that location with potential after-hours urgent care and weekend urgent care services. They have offered $375,000 as a purchasing price. The town has committed to patching the asphalt in the parking lot where we improve the drainage across the property and around the building, and replacing the missing section of the stone column that came down during that work. They will need to deposit earnest money in the amount of $18,750 with our town clerk within 5 days of execution of this contract. We will then have to advertise for upset bid process within the local newspaper. There's a 10-day upset bid process. If anybody's going to submit an upset bid, it would need to be for a total minimum raised bid of $393,800. The buyer in this situation, if anybody were to upset it, will receive, after the upset bid process, 30 days of examination period, and the closing shall not occur no later than 45 days from the date, so March 31st. We do have a resolution we'll have to adopt in order with this, and then I will turn it over to Monroe, our town attorney, if he has anything that he would like to say on behalf of this.
Pardon me. Thank you, Nathan. Now you have before you the contract or the offer. A couple things I just want to point out. It's on page 2 of the agreement. There's a reference to the Williams Law Firm. That instruction didn't get through clearly to the officer. That'll be stricken out. The Williams Law Firm is not holding any earnest money. The town is holding the earnest money. But we can approve it with that strikeout. And really, the only thing you'd really be asked to approve tonight is this resolution, which indicates your willingness to accept this offer with that one minor change that I pointed out, which I'm sure the buyer will have no problem agreeing to. I communicated that to Ms. Harkness. She communicated that to the buyer's agent, but for whatever reason, when they tendered us the contract, that was left in there. But the earnest money is with the town. And really, that's it. As he said, I think it's set up, if this resolution is adopted, it'll be published tomorrow. Is that correct? It'll be published in the Intelligent Times tomorrow. So the 10 days will start to run. Well, the 10th day is a Sunday, by the way. So they'll have till 4:30, because that's when City Hall Town Hall closes. So they'll have till 4:30. I think that's the 16th, which is somebody will have that to upset the bid. And as Nathan said, any party that upsets the bid has to come forward with the appropriate deposit, and they'll have the same rights with respect to inspection and closing that this particular offering party has.
Yeah, question.
Yes, sir.
Till the 16th, which is a Sunday at 4:30?
Now, the 16th, the 15th is the 10th day. That's a Sunday. It's either Saturday or Sunday. Anyway, when something under the law, if the day to act, the 10th day or any day to act is a Saturday or Sunday or holiday, it always kicks it to the next business day.
16th is a Monday.
Right. Now, it so happens the 16th is a federal holiday, but it is not a state holiday.
That's okay then.
That's okay. Town hall will be open on the 16th, barring another storm.
question.
Yes, ma'am.
Then on the 16th, we go back through this process with someone, would it go back up for a bid again? 10
Well,
days?
the way this resolution is written, the clerk would then be authorized to run another ad saying, you've got this bid with this offer, and you got this, it's subject to a 10-day upset. And I think we did a little bit different when we were selling the houses a couple of years ago. That was more of a competitive type bidding. This is not what happened in this case. We put this property out, say, we put it with a realtor, said, hey, we're soliciting offers, and we got this offer, and it appears that this board is willing to accept this offer.
I'm just confused because I'm counting 10 days.
And if they put tomorrow, you don't count tomorrow.
You count the 5th,
Yep.
which is Thursday,
Yeah.
because that's when the paper, most people get the paper.
But it's actually published on the 4th, is it not?
It comes out on the 4th,
Yeah.
but a lot of people don't get it to the 5th. So 5th, 6th, 7th.
It's still fine.
And it comes, to me, that's landing on the 14th.
This is a Saturday. Either
Still a
way,
lot of business.
either day, not a business day.
I got you.
Yeah.
All right.
I just knew that you had till the 16th to do it.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Okay, so we have the resolution before us.
Make a motion that we accept the resolution.
Motion's been made and a second. Is there any more discussion, questions? If not, all in favor say aye. Any opposed, like sign. No one is opposed to that, so thank you, Monroe and Nathan. Okay, on item number 5, it's streets and sidewalk change order. Aaron?
So before you is a change order for the Streets and Sidewalks project. For the area of Green Meadows Drive, the original plan had just milling around the curb and gutter at the entrance to Green Meadows. And since the time of inspection and everything was put together a year ago, the asphalt of the whole dry area is cracking, so there's no point in having a crumbly area and then on the street have brand new. So this change order is to do away with just milling around the curb and gutter and mill it all off and get back with brand new asphalt. So from 90 all the way down, it will be completely new asphalt. It increases it by $38,500, but there's roughly $60,000 worth of patching that will not be done. So while this change order does increase it, the overall cost of the project will be below the original price, and so it'll offset the cost of this. But this initially will increase the contract price to $1,158,802.50.
So my question, by doing it this way, we're saving money? Is that right?
Well, we're saving money on patching.
Right.
It'll just be straight patching.
Right.
So,
And we initiated the change order. They did not.
B.G. Thomas.
But
They
it was-
were our engineers initiated this.
I make a motion, we grant the change order.
Second.
Motion been made and a second. Is there any more discussion, comments, or questions? If not, all in favor say aye. Any opposed, like sign. No one is opposed, so. We go straight to staff report from Chief Mike Millsaps.
Right. Good evening, everybody. We had 876 calls for service, 54, did 54 reports. The system's down a little bit. We don't have all the information that we need, what we normally give you, but that gives you a good idea. During the storm, we had no major incidents to talk about. We did have one message come in from a lady said, somebody said the lady was stranded in a van. She had her dogs in there and nowhere to go, so we sent some officers up there that got her and her dogs and took them to the motel. It's the only place we had, and they housed her in the motel there until she could, the next day, she may not have the next day, maybe in a couple of days, but either way, she did get service and she didn't have to stay up there in that van. We did put, most of our cars are all-wheel drive, so the snow didn't really bog us down any. The ones that are sitting on the bank up there are two-wheel drive, which are, some of them are older, but we did pretty good in that. So other than that, that's really about all I have.
Good, thank you. Angela, you're gonna give us a financial report.
I'm just going to update on the audit process. I emailed Morgan with Martin Starnes, and she said that, the process has been slow going this week because, the last couple of weeks because of the ice storm, the snowstorm, and then there were some other reports that had deadlines that had to be finished by them, not for us, but for someone else. And so they've been working on those. Her plan is, by the end of next week to have the financial, to finish up on the financial statements and have those ready for review. That is from her. So, there's a couple of things that she says that they've sent some requests for information that we've got to respond on our end to upload some new information. So that is hopefully by the end of February we'll be ready to finalize the audit, but it's up to them at this point.
And we have your reports on revenue and expenditures that you gave to us today. Thank you for that. Aaron White.
We survived the storm. Our guys pushed pretty much during the weekend. Last weekend, they came in Sunday and worked about 10 hours. They came in this Saturday and worked about the same. Just getting ahead of things. The state ran out of salt, which hurt us, and they provided us with salt in the past and provided us during the ice storm with it. But once this last snowstorm hit, we were cut off from them because they didn't have enough, which is why the state struggled as much as they did. They're doing major highways, but didn't have secondary roads covered with salt this time. We had a little bit left over that we were able to utilize on the hills and whatnot, and thankfully Sunday was warmer than expected, and the sunlight helped melt a lot of it away from the road. Of course, there was tons of salt residue left on the roads already to help with that, but as far as I know, we had no issues. There was no incidents from it. We've had, I think, a total of 4 people that's called during the last 2 weeks that's had frozen pipes. It's all been on their end, left town side issues. We've not had any leaks or anything of that nature. So, barring just the expense of some extra overtime hours and everything, we've come out pretty well unscathed. So, thank you for that.
Just want to say thank you all for as hard as you did.
Yeah, I want to make one comment that was passed on to me from Lynn Reese, who served on the Economic Development Committee. Not this past Sunday, but Sunday before, they arrived at the Charlotte Airport on Sunday night. That's when the airport was just getting ready to start up again. They drove all the way back from Charlotte and back to Taylorsville to their driveway without any trouble. And they said, you just couldn't believe the difference when you entered Alexander County and Taylorsville. That they really appreciated that because they had to get back home that night.
Right.
So it was tough that we had the storm, but the crew did an amazing job. We're thankful for it. And no one got injured, no one got hurt, so.
Nobody got hurt, everybody got the snow they was looking for. Now we get some warm weather.
Yeah.
Nathan, you gonna give us a manager's report?
Yes, I am. I'd just like to second everybody's comments on Public Works and just say how proud I am of all the hard work they did. Really appreciate them coming out and ensuring that everybody can travel around town safely. We should know by February 18th what the staff at DEQ recommends our grant applications to be funded at. So once we see that, that'll have to go before their board to be voted on. But we'll kind of have an idea of what level of funding we're going to receive. Aaron and I are continuing to meet with other folks about grants. We talk about the CDBG public hearings, meeting with the COG tomorrow about potentially a building reuse grant, further infrastructure grants, and potentially some grants to help our 501c3 or Taylorsville Development Alliance to get some more funding. Also using some proceeds from hopefully the sale of urgent care to get them some funding as well, so they can do their own projects and assist us on projects, and we can partner on some great things in town. As a reminder that our budget retreat is February 17th. It's going to be next door at the bank in their conference room downstairs. I think that'll be 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Which is going to keep it one day this year. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
General discussion from the council.
I just want to thank Aaron, Public Works, for all they did. I've seen them around town scraping and walked over to one repairing the light. A zip tie, ingenuity, pulled it off, so thankful for that. Yeah, that would get really hard. I think you took your man, will go wrong. But I do appreciate all the hard work, and has been said many times, like the mayor has already said, a lot of people's commented that when you come in Alexander County, you can really tell the county does a good job. The town does an excellent job, and tell the guys they did, and the lady they did a fantastic job working hard during the snowstorm. So, and thank the staff for everything. Police, chief, thank you for everything y'all do. Especially when disasters hit and extra snow and extra things like that, it takes a little bit extra from everybody. So thank y'all for everything you do. People, sometimes we take it for granted, the town staff and what they do, but they really make the wheels run. So I do really want to thank y'all for everything you do. So.
That reminds me of one thing. We did have a couple guys that stayed overnight. They slept here, so they wouldn't be any issues with getting to work the next day. So that's commendable there.
That's good to be on,
Yeah.
and we appreciate that.
Okay,
And then
yeah, go ahead.
I just had a list of the same thank yous that everybody else had, but in addition to that, I want us to recognize Nathan for all the hard work he's put into, we'll just call them projects with all these things that we have. There's a lot of spokes in this wheel right now that are rolling, and we're making really good headway, and I think it's all because of Nathan's leadership. And I appreciate everything you do every day to help us make this progress and to start seeing changes taking place in town. And all the while dealing with all this craziness that we're dealing with the weather and stuff. Because there was a lot of, there were 3 public works people up here Sunday clearing out all this so that the police could get in and out. They had the tractor and the backhoe, and our little girl was hard at work and leading the crew, and the guys speak very highly of her. I mean, they're like, she is really a go-getter. She is doing a bang-up job. And, you know, she was responsible for a lot of the street signs getting changed, and 'cause I witnessed her out there changing them. So, and, so she's making a difference. They're making a difference, and it's visible to the community.
Okay. I assume everybody has, had an opportunity to speak, and our, again, work session is, the budget, February the 17th, and our next meeting is Tuesday, March the 3rd, in this room here. And so the only other question is, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
If everybody agrees, say aye. We're adjourned.
Man, I have, Public Works, I need your assistance. I don't know why, but I've killed about 20 some ants.